Have no fear. The next speaker needs no introduction in Barbados or anywhere. She is the former representative for St. James South, and she's one of the best ministers that Barbados has ever seen. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Miss Elizabeth Thompson.
Good evening. Good evening. The hour is late and I promise not to detain you. Yes. But I had to come to Weston to support the platform of my cousin Eddie Hinkson and to ask you to return him to Parliament with an even larger majority than you gave him last time, because he's worked really very hard to serve this constituency, to make a difference, and has spoken exceptionally well in Parliament, carrying the fight to the Democratic Labour Party, challenging them and not backing down on critical issues, calling them out when they have been lying, pointing out the gaps in policy and programming, and pointing out the lack of concern that the Democratic Labour Party government has had for the people of Barbados. I really just want to make a few points, really very briefly. So I'm giving myself 10 minutes. Two Sundays ago, the Democratic Labour Party launched its campaign for this election. And David Eswick made the point that he was going to go after your mother, your father, your dog, your cat, and the mangy rat in the yard. And we saw them do exactly that when Fronell and the former Prime Minister of Barbados teamed up to tell a lie. To say something that could be proven to be inaccurate by reference to the official gazette and documents signed by the Ministry of Finance against the leader of the Barbados Labour Party. So we saw and we are seeing them go after a father, a mother, a daughter, and the people might feel that he could take on somebody's dog or somebody's cat. For me, it was sad to listen to. Sad to listen to in the sense that here was the one formidable Democratic Labour Party beginning an election campaign, desperate, with the worst kind of personal assaults and attacks, invective, innuendo, attacking a woman on a political platform. They talked about everything from her hair to her size. When weeks before that, days before that, the governor of the central bank had given one of the most alarming reports about the state of the country's economy, they didn't address it. There is sewage on the South Coast, they have not addressed it. There are no garbage trucks, they have not addressed it. Except to say all the time, trucks have been ordered, but the trucks never get here. In fact, they're getting the price very wrong. One minister tell you that a garbage truck costs 200,000, another minister tell you a garbage truck costs 700,000. The potholes are causing injury to people's cars, to people's bodies. Damage to their cars, damage to their tires, damage to their shoes. Dems are not addressing that. Whatever the state of the country, the Dems are focused on personal attack and launching a smear campaign because their record in government has been so poor that they cannot stand on it. And not being able to stand on it, their approach has been to attack the manifesto of the Barbados Labour Party and to say it cannot be done. And I've come to Weston tonight to say to you that in the same way you have seen our manifesto presented in mini format with innovation, taking a concept to which you have been accustomed and turning it on its head and creating something completely new for you. That in the same way the Democratic Labour Party cannot manage the economy, cannot deal with our social challenges, that the Barbados Labour Party is coming in this election to say to you, we will face the problems of the country and we will fix them, whatever they are. It is amazing to me that a Democratic Labour Party government after 10 years is still seeking to place the blame on the Barbados Labour Party for everything that goes wrong. They tell you it is not their fault. That is their first response. It is as if they do not recognize that they are the government and have been the government for 10 years. And that they had a responsibility to put policies, programs, and measures in place to address the challenges that Barbados was facing. When we came to government in 1994, Mount Stinkaroo was so bad that the very first thing a Barbados Labour Party government had to do was fix it. We had to compensate the people of Arch Hall and Bennett, and we fixed it. We did not say that it was not our fault, that we hadn't caused it, that it was the Democratic Labour Party, that it was nothing to do with us. We didn't find excuses. We accepted our responsibility as a government and we acted on that responsibility. And here in this community, in the 94 to 2008 term, you saw the Weston Fish Market being refurbished. You saw the Oystons Fish Market refurbished and the Bay Gardens, the entertainment center started. You saw the fishing market at Bridgetown refurbished. You saw the fishing market at Paynes Bay refurbished. You saw this fish market at Spikestown refurbished, all redone. Whereas now under the Democratic Labour Party, all of government's facilities are in decline, disrepair, decrepit. What ain't condemned can be used. What ain't condemned break down, pop up. I mean, it is really, really bad. And the government will not face it. They will not fix it. And they are resorting, therefore, to terrible personal abuse of the worst sort, rather than addressing the problems of the country. And it is important to them to have you believe that what we are attempting to do is impossible. And I want to just focus on two of the policies in the manifesto, and you know, I imagine that people earlier tonight spoke to some of the policy issues, including rent-to-own fishing boats. Did anybody talk about the rent-to-own fishing boats? It's one of the policies in the manifesto, because we know that several people who are engaged in the fishing industry, particularly at the level of fishermen, work for other people who own boats, that they themselves do not have the capital and resources to own their own boats. And therefore we are saying that we are going to put a fund in place that will allow fishermen to access that and rent boats. And all the money that they pay as rental will go toward the purchase price, in the same way that you would do a rent-to-own house, so that fishermen will be able not just to fish for other people, but to own their own boat. And it is because part of our emphasis in this manifesto, Mayor Motley's first manifesto, is on entrepreneurship. You already know about the trust loans of $5,000 if you have any legitimate small business, from selling nuts to selling putting a sauce out your back door or side door, to doing things related to the fishing industry. You know that there is going to be a training college focused on maritime affairs, and that every young person in the country is going to be encouraged and supported to learn a foreign language, learn to swim, learn first aid, get a first trip abroad so that they can get international exposure and engage in some form of arts or sports. We have said in the manifesto that we are reserving 5%. Government spends $400 million a year on goods and services. And we are saying that when young people supply goods and services to government, we are going to reserve 5% of government expenditure on goods and services, particularly for young people, and that other small business people right here in this community are going to be able to access contracts for government up to $250,000 and under. Now, we know that people have challenges engaging with government systems. They don't know how to contract. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't understand the forms and the formal processes of government. All over Barbados, therefore, we are going to set up regional bureaus to help people with financial literacy, to help you learn how to save and how to invest. But most of all, if you are a small business person, because many small business persons carry out all the functions of the business themselves. You see them hustling, they're trying to keep track of the accounts, they're trying to buy the goods or whatever it is that they have to sell, the selling, the storing, etc. And therefore, the role of the regional bureaus will be to help to guide these small businesses in how to access government funds and services. There are two more points I want to make. One is about the abolition of the road tax, because it is one of the questions that people keep asking and they're not clear. And I want to say to you that people are making it far more complicated than it is. It really isn't difficult. Right now, there are a lot of people who don't pay road tax. Some just worthless. But there are other people who, especially in these economic times, who find great difficulty finding the $1,600, the $900, the $400 or $500 in their hand one time to pay road tax, because you just can't catch your hand. Things are too rough. So they say, Lord, my road tax is due on the 5th, but the 5th comes and goes, and they had to go in the supermarket with the money, the child's shoe burst out, they had to buy new school shoes, something happened, and the money gone. They try and save some more, they say, I'm going to pay it late next month. Next month, something else happens. So the bill does not get paid. And we are saying, we know it is hard. So you're still going to register your vehicles. People are saying, well, what don't work? You're still going to have a registered vehicle. You're still going to have a car number. And it will probably, the insurance and all that will work. It has to be insured, the vehicle, and it will work with your birthday, so that the system is easy for you to follow. You know that your stuff will be due, your registration will be due on your birthday, and that's it. In relation to the tax itself, when NSRL is removed, because you know right now you pay NSRL on everything. And you know that when NSRL went on, everything went up sky high. So when NSRL is removed, gas is going to be a lot cheaper than it is right now. You remember that gas used to be cheaper under the Barbados Labour Party. The Democratic Labour Party put on all kinds of new taxes on gas. And we're saying that when these taxes come off, gas is going to be much cheaper than it is now. And when you go to the gas tank, to the gas station to fill up, the 3 cents or whatever it is going to be, the tax is going to be in the gas price already. So you aren't going to feel it. It is going to be easy. And I'll give you an example. When I was energy minister, we used to put 7 cents, I think it was 7 cents on gas to help to finance crop over. Nobody knew. People didn't feel it. The tax was already in the price at the pump. You went and filled up your tank and drove away. And the government collected the taxes, and out of the taxes, the government collected 7 cents, went to the National Cultural Foundation to help to finance crop over. That's how we used to finance crop over. So I'm saying to you, it is going to be the same thing now. You go to the drive up, the 3 cents going to be in the gas already, you put in the gas and you drive away, and that's the end of that. You don't have to think about finding $600 or $900 or $1,600 to pay one time. You pay it in there. So if you drive a lot, well then you will pay more 3 cents. But it is still not a large sum of money. So don't let the Dems frighten you and tell you gas going up and you ain't going to be able to afford it and the price is going to be real high. It is going to be highly affordable. The system is going to be easy. You ain't going to feel it. And once the NSRL comes off, the price of gas is going to be much lower. I want then to close on a question that everybody keeps asking. Where is the money going to come from? And if you read the mini manifesto, and if you read the maxi manifesto, in fact, in the mini manifesto, I put in a section called frequently asked questions, FAQs or facts, as some people say, because I recognized as I moved around that there were several questions that kept recurring. And the most important one of all was this question of where will the money come from? In fact, if you look at the Maxi Manifesto, not only was it placed in the Mini Manifesto, but at the end of the section Mission Critical, which is the first section of the Maxi Manifesto, before you get to the 5-year transformational agenda, is this question of where is the money going to come from? And I put it there up front, because I know that once people read through the crisis issues with which we intend to deal in the first 6 months, immediately the question would come, but where are you getting the money from? And I want to answer that question tonight. Where is the money going to come from? First of all, thieving and corruption got to get stamped out. And if you deal with thieving and corruption, you will save a lot of money. You know that today the cabinet met to discuss the matter of the sale of the Hilton for $70 million less than it was worth. $70 million, think about that. If a garbage truck costs $200,000, how many you think $15 million will buy? The 3,000 people that dropped out of UE this year, if everybody who was enrolled in UE this year had continued going, that would cost the government of Barbados $25 million. So I just buy some garbage trucks and I sent everybody who was going to UE. I can fix some roads now. I can put in a little $5 million for the roads. And I can keep going. I can buy some street lights. I can buy some buses, and I still ain't got 70 million, ain't spent 70 million yet. So that with prudent management of your resources, so much more can be done with the money. So that is one mechanism that we're using. We are cutting out corruption and wastage. And you would have heard what our provisions for corruption are, how we plan that ministers have to declare their assets, that there's going to be integrity legislation, and that is coming as a first order of business. A new Barbados Labour Party administration will return confidence at the national and international level. People are not spending. People are not investing because they have no confidence in Chris, Frondel, Donville, and that crowd. They don't have confidence. People are afraid of their future. People are afraid of what is going to happen with the Barbados dollar. People are frightened. And speaking of the Barbados dollar, the latest lyrics being run by the Democratic Labour Party, because it is all smear, scandal, and fear tactics, is that we are going to the IMF. The mini manifesto tells you that the Barbados Labour Party is committed, we say it in the Maxi Manifesto as well, that we are committed to maintaining the rate of 2 Barbados dollars to 1 US dollar. And I want to point out to you that Barbados has been to the IMF twice before. We went under Tom Adams, the dollar didn't get devalued. We went under Erskine Sandiford after 8% cut, after things was bad out here, after thousands of people was laid off, after people lost their severance benefits and all their other government benefits, when civil servants were smelling hell and the dollar was not devalued then. So don't believe it is going to get devalued now. The Barbados Labour Party is going to do everything in its power to maintain the parity of the Barbados dollar, to maintain the value of the Barbados dollar. So I've said, we're building confidence, we're stamping out wastage and corruption. We are going to encourage businesses that have foreign exchange accounts to put their money in accounts in Barbados banks rather than leave the money up in New York and Washington and Miami. And the same goes to you. Every taxi driver that's gotten up US, every barman, you can buy US from him. People working in the hotels, and you're keeping it home, carry it in the bank. Your government, the need foreign exchange, open your foreign service account. And that is one of the ways in which we are going to bring foreign exchange into the economy. The final thing that we are going to do in respect of finding the money to finance our agenda, both the 6-month urgent agenda and then down the road, the transformational agenda, the 5-year transformational agenda, is to re-profile the debt. When I was drafting the manifesto and I sat with the economics people, Dr. Clyde Maskell and others, I was loath to use the term reprofiling the debt because it is not a common expression. And even as a lawyer, it was not an expression with which I was familiar. Certainly not in the way that they framed it. But let me tell you what it means. Because it really is not a complicated technique. It is something that you do all the time, but you don't call it reprofiling. When you have a rough month, don't you go to your creditors and say, listen, Mary, I can't pay you this month. I know I owe you $50, but I can't pay you this month. I can pay you next month, and next month I can pay you 55 because, or 25 or 10 or 15. Don't you do that? Don't you go into the bank and say, I can't pay this month, but I'm going to do this or that, or I'm going to double up next month? Don't you juggle and move money from here to put emphasis somewhere else? That's reprofiling. That's reprofiling. And therefore what the Barbados Labour Party is saying that we're going to do is we are going to approach those institutions which have loaned Barbados money and which we owe to institutions which are holding our debt, and say to them, can you give me a lower interest rate? Can you stretch out my loan over a longer period? Don't you do that? You hear banks advertising, come in and consolidate your debt. And that's what it is. You have 3 or 4 or 5 loans. You take up the loans from all the banks, from the credit union, and you go to one institution. And you say to them, I make $500 a week. Right now, I'm paying $300 a week in debt. And I got to pay First Caribbean. I got to pay the credit union. I got to pay First Citizens, etc., etc. And this new institution, let's say Scotiabank says to you, okay, you bring all the loans here. Rather than having to pay them back in 3 years, I can let you pay them in 7 years. And rather than pay 25% interest, I can give you a 10.25% interest rate. So that at the end of the week, instead of paying out $300 every week in debt, your loan repayment might only be $125. When you are paying out the $300, you had $200 in your hand to pay all your bills. You got your light, you got your water, you got your this. Now take that and put it in the context of a government. You have millions of dollars in debt that you are paying. If you reprofile your debt, immediately you are going to get more cash in hand. When you get your additional money in your hand, what you gonna do with it? I ain't talking about the government now, I mean you. You gonna spend it. You going in the shop, you coming down here and buy some fish. You going in the shop and buy some food. You're going down to John Moore, you buy the fellas a drink. The children can get school shoes. You can buy the new curtains they were looking for. You're going to spend. And as you spend, there is activity. There's stimulation of the economy. Government, that's all me is saying. That we are going to the financial institutions. We are going to reprofile our debt. We will get lower interest rates. We will get longer to pay back. That is going to give us more money in hand. And when we get money in hand, we can do the same thing that you can do. We can stimulate the economy by spending it. We can spend it by sending your children back to UE. We can spend it by giving the little old ladies and old men too increased non-contributory pension. We are going to spend it by fixing the roads. We are going to say, and Eddie spoke about it earlier, you have 5,000 pit toilets in Barbados. We want to end that and cause people to live with dignity. So we can set up a fund. And in communities, small businesses and families will be able to access the fund and repair and convert the pit toilets to waterborne facilities. So money will be turning over in the economy. We aren't just going to take the money from the reprofiling of the debt and put it down. That is the money that is going to be put to work for you. Now, clearly, these approaches have not been applied by the Democratic Labour Party. Things have gone from bad to worse. The governor of the central bank tells you unemployment is higher, or our debt ratio, a debt to GDP ratio is worse. The indices, social and economic indicators are bad. And we believe that just as we took the concept of a manifesto and transformed it with innovation, that we can come in and put measures in place that will create change. It is in the Dems' interest to make you believe that this is not possible. I want you, as I said at Sign Hill last night, to remember that when Oedafa said he would create 30,000 jobs, the Dems said it was impossible, but he did it. When he said that he would lower unemployment and he brought it from 25% to 6%, the Dems said it was impossible, but it was done. When Tom Adams said that there would be a Tenantries Freehold Purchase Act and that poor people in this country living in tenantries would be able to become property owners at $10 10 cents a square foot, the Dems said it was impossible, but we did it. When Bradley Adams said that he would put in place a national insurance scheme, build a Queen Elizabeth Hospital on land that was swampy, and build a deep water harbor on reclaimed land, the Dems said it was impossible, but we did it. When Tom Adams said that he was going to build an industrial highway from the airport right across the middle of Barbados, they said it was a waste of time, a bad idea, and totally impossible, but he did it. And I'm saying to you that it is Mia Motley's turn. She has said that she is going to do these things and transform Barbados, and with your help and with your vote, she will get it done. We must not let the Democratic Labour Party persuade us that we must remain at the bottom, that Barbados must continue to have the highest inflation in the Caribbean, that we must continue to be one of the most indebted countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, that our index, our metrics and matrices should be at the bottom. Every measurement, Barbados should be coming in last. The worst performing economy in the Caribbean. We do not deserve that, but we have to tell ourselves, you know, when you get depressed, when you start to believe that better can't be done, when you start to believe that things are bad and nothing can be better, when you start to believe that you get in what you deserve and that nobody can't do any better, that is when you become afraid to put your hand in the hand of the Barbados Labour Party and move into a different direction. And I want you to see the Barbados that Mia Motley sees. I want you to see the Barbados with new islands. I want you to see the Barbados that has new entrepreneurs, for people who aspire to earn income, for those of you who want to go to university. I want you to believe that it is now possible that you can break out of poverty by getting an education at a tertiary institution that will allow you to earn income to support your families. I want you to see the Barbados that Mia Motley sees, where once again picking up garbage becomes routine, and that it isn't something that every 6 and 8 weeks takes place. They pick up garbage at my house every 8 weeks. Some people I know get every 4. Picking up garbage used to happen daily in Barbados. A bus service was a daily thing in Barbados. Fixing roads and streetlights was a normal thing in Barbados. The Dems have taken ordinary daily management issues and elevated them to high science, because they are not spending their time working for you. People too busy thieving. Men sitting down working out how to get schemes to get money out of the Hilton, to put up buildings out of which they can get a cut. Why would you build a new sanitation service authority building up in Vaucluse? I can't buy a garbage truck. Millions and millions of dollars up in Vaucluse, but people garbage can't pick up. You build a water authority building, but people are old ladies struggling up hills with buckets of water in their hand. And I would never forget the image of the old woman on the front page of the Nation newspaper, the stick in one hand and the half-filled bucket, struggling up a hill in St. Joseph. They're building something so that they can get something out of it. But what is to serve the country? What is to be done to improve your conditions? What is to be done to manage and maintain Barbados at the highest levels? Who would ever have thought that in 2018, a government in Barbados would allow the South Coast to be painted a soft, smelly brown? Who would have thought? You know, this is a form really of almost domestic abuse. It is a form of violence that the Dems have inflicted on the country, on people's pockets, on their livelihoods, on the way they think, on their self-esteem, on their sense of self, on their sense of nationhood, on what we deserve, and what we can and should aspire to be. It is a form of violence. And come the 24th of May, you have an opportunity to return the favor. You have an opportunity to use your ex as viciously as they have used their policies to decimate this country. And I'm asking you on the 24th of May, when you go out, to tell yourself that you deserve the best, that you are going to put your hand into the hands of the candidates here in St. James, in St. Michael's Central, and in St. James Central and in St. James North, and that you are going to put your hand into the hand of Mayor Motley, and that you are going to reject the lies of the Democratic Labour Party, that you are going to reject their telling you that it cannot be done, and that together we will build the best Barbados, that we will see a new dawn and a new day, that those of us born in poverty will have an opportunity to break out and walk to lasting prosperity, that those old people will now have an opportunity to live in greater comfort and dignity, that new opportunity will be opened up for every class of Barbadians so that your quality of life will be improved, and so that Barbados is once again a shining beacon on the hill, a beacon that stands out across the Caribbean and across the world as the top developing country and moving quickly to developed country status. When we left government, we were 31 on the Human Development Index, recognized and revered across the world. As I stand talking to you tonight, we are number 54 and dropping. The time has come to stand again on the pride of our forefathers. When the Dems tell you to think low, I remind you that people like Jeff Bezos, who created Amazon, and Steve Jobs, who propelled Apple, and all of the people who dreamed big and created, they did not start with small ideas. They dreamed big and then they went on, they dared to take the actions necessary to deliver on those big ideas. And I say to you tonight, dream big with the Barbados Labour Party. Dare to have a different quality of life and work with us to deliver on these new opportunities as we build the best Barbados together. It is possible. We will do it. You will help us do it. It's not going to be easy. It will require effort. But it is possible if we do it together. So on the 24th, let's start that work with your vote. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Thank you to the people of Weston for taking us in tonight. I want to conclude by asking you, like Liz said, to go out on the 24th of May in your numbers and vote for Edmund Hinkson. So, I just want everyone to travel safely on your way home. Thank you for having us. And any of you interested, you can join Mr. Hinkson by Ms. Lucas Shop for a beer. Good night to the people of Weston.